11%. Let's talk about the 11%. Obviously, when we try to generalize or pick out a group of people that might represent the 11%, that's just what we have to do, is kind of generalize. And in this video, I want to talk about some areas or some pockets in the city of Newcastle that might show a high concentration of different groups of people that represent the 11%. And this is mainly for communication. If you're thinking about doing some kind of canvassing or some kind of mail-out campaign or whatever the case may be. But keep in mind that the most effective way of communicating, of connecting with, and really of serving, which is the idea here, is to serve the 11%. The most effective way of doing that is through relational means, through personal connection. Study after study shows that the vast majority of people who end up coming to church was because of an invitation of a friend or a family or a coworker. In fact, it's interesting to note that in the city of Newcastle, when they were asked to rate the methods of contact that are good, and we look at the face-to-face communication methods, 23% rated that as good if it was calling and offering to visit when convenient. That was much higher than the national average. In the city of Newcastle, they rated that as good if people were to call and offer to come when it's convenient. So keep that in mind. But let's take a look at some areas that have high concentrations of different types of people that might be part of this 11%. There's a group called a group that has the highest likelihood of no faith involvement. And again, if we're wanting to reach people who don't have a church home, this is a group that we would want to concentrate on. And there seems to be a high concentration of people on the east side of the city, east of Route 118 and up through the northeast part of town. And you may know the town or the city in that part, and maybe some of the reasons why that's the case. But that seems to be a trend of people who have the highest likelihood of no faith involvement. The people that have increased their faith over the last 10 years, there seems to be a pocket in the upper northeast part, and then west of downtown between Greenwood Cemetery and Grandview Avenue. These are people that have increased their faith involvement in the last 10 years and may or may not be plugged into a church fellowship. For people whose primary concern is finding life direction, there seems to be a high concentration in the northeast quadrant between Highland Avenue and Route 168. And then for young families, people aged 18 to 29, there's a small pocket just east of downtown, kind of where Route 108 and Route 65 meet. And then there's a larger pocket outside the 2.5 mile radius on the outskirts of the city to the east and to the northeast. So this is the young families many times are in transition, especially when they begin to have children, want to get plugged into a church home. So there's a pretty high concentration kind of on the outskirts to the east and to the northeast. The highest population growth is projected to be to the northwest, and again, that's kind of on the outskirts, the outside of the city itself. So overall, I would say, other than the projected growth population, overall to the east and to the northeast might be some areas you would want to think about because they seem to have a higher concentration of the types of people that make up the 11% in Newcastle.